There's no denying that Paramount Pictures, a studio that's been going strong, or strong adjacent, for almost 115 years, has quite the history with animation. During the medium's golden age, they seized control of the Fleischer Studios from founders Max and Dave Fleischer and formed a successor named Famous Studios. They were responsible for multiple theatrical cartoons throughout the 40s and 50s, but are perhaps most commonly associated with Popeye the Sailor Man. After their closure in 1967, Paramount would start to release animated films more sparingly. These included Charlotte's Web, a few Charlie Brown pictures, and Bebe's Kids. It's animation! I may or may not have mentioned Bebe's Kids as an excuse to do that bit. But in the fall of 1993, they signed a deal with Canadian studio Nelvana to produce 5 animated movies, 3 of which were supposed to be based on children's books. None of these ever came into fruition, although Trumpet of the Swan would eventually see the light of day at TriStar. A year later was when Paramount Pictures merged with Viacom, which gave them access to the Nickelodeon library after their previous deal with 20th Century Fox fell through. Their first major home run was 1998's The Rugrats movie, which actually became the first non-Disney animated film to gross $100 million at the domestic box office. This gave Nick the confidence they needed to greenlight movies based on other popular shows of theirs like Hey Arnold, The Wild Thornberrys, and their most popular IP, SpongeBob SquarePants. While the success was relatively short-lived, it showed that Paramount could be a major competitor in the animation industry. This was further proven in early 2006 when they signed a distribution deal with DreamWorks Animation, which started with that summer's release of Over the Hedge. Some movies were less profitable than others, but they had some major hits around this time. I'm talking How to Train Your Dragon, Monsters vs. Aliens, the first 2 Kung Fu Pandas, the last 2 Madagascars, Shrek 3 and 4, as well as the Puss in Boots spin-off. The one that animation Twitter doesn't nut to. There we go. Sadly, this deal ended in 2012 with the financial failure of Rise of the Guardians, and that led DreamWorks into a whole other situation that would be better suited for its own video. However, a year earlier was when Paramount released the movie Rango. Sure, the box office wasn't that up to snuff, but its success with the critics was what convinced Paramount to not renew their deal with DreamWorks and instead decide to form their own animation division. Thus, Paramount Animation was formed on July 6, 2011. Their first project ended up being the SpongeBob movie Sponge Out of Water, released on February 6, 2015. Produced on a budget of $60 to $74 million, the film went on to make $325.2 million worldwide and received mostly positive reviews from the critics. This gave Paramount Animation the boost they needed to fast-track an entire slate of movies, and this is what it looked like by the end of 2015. Their French acquisition, The Little Prince, seemed like it was next on the docket, for it was scheduled to be released here in the US on March 18, 2016. However, a week before it was set to debut, Paramount surprisingly pulled it from their release schedule, though the film would eventually find its way onto Netflix. Their next 2 movies would be both Monster Trucks and Sherlock Gnomes, released on January 13, 2017 and March 23, 2018, respectively. Neither film really made a huge dent at the box office or were well received by critics. Hell, the former had to be delayed multiple times after children were crying at test screenings over Creech's original design. I mean, just look at this thing! But anyways, after those 2 blunders were when they put out Wonder Park. Released on March 15, 2019, it ultimately didn't perform that much differently compared to its predecessors, though I'd say it's even worse here because this was supposed to launch a fresh new IP for Nickelodeon the same way that both Jimmy Neutron and Barnyard did. This movie was supposed to launch a TV show which, to this day, the only available footage for it is through a promo on the home video release of the movie, although some episodes have been leaked online in the form of storyboards. However, around this movie is where things start to get a little confusing. I remember around late 2018, early 2019, when a mutual of mine pointed out how the copyright info in the trailer specifically stated Paramount Animation, whereas the ones for Monster Trucks and Sherlock Gnomes say Paramount Pictures, and then proceeded to refer to the opening credits of those films. But then Wonder Park came out, and sure enough, it opens with a Paramount Animation credit, much like how Sponge Out of Water did. This led to some confusion, as I began to wonder what truly defined a Paramount Animation movie.
Oh, hey guys, yeah, this is the more impromptu part of the video, if you will. I'm just gonna go over, every animated film that Paramount has released over the last decade, see which ones truly count as being Paramount Animation. Yeah, so, here we got, the SpongeBob movie Sponge Out of Water, the first film released under this label. And, the opening credits do say Paramount Animation, which, this is their very first movie, so no surprise there. And then, yeah, I don't have any notes, so. Alright, and then we got The Little Prince, it was originally announced as a Paramount Animation movie before being sold to Netflix at the last minute. I just went on a whole tangent about that. Yeah, but this movie doesn't really have credits, per se, until, like, the very end. And really the closest thing I could find to Paramount being, aside from their logo being at the beginning, a pretty neat variant, by the way, but yeah, like, the closest thing I could find to a studio credit being in the movie at all is the print logo at the end of the movie, which, yeah, it's a little, I know Paramount Animation didn't have a proper print logo at the time, so it's just the standard Paramount logo, but still, you could debate that, and that's gonna be a real topic later, Yeah. Which, this I will let slide. It is a movie that they acquired from France. So Paramount, they didn't really release it in every territory. In fact, I'm pretty sure Warner Brothers might have released it in a few other places. Yeah, I'm not here to judge, though. And next we got, Monster Trucks. This was originally announced as a Paramount Animation movie. But, yeah, as you can see, the opening credits say Paramount Pictures. Sponge Out of Water, which came out 2 years before this did, says Paramount Animation. So, what the fuck? Though, actually, I thought of this as I was, like, setting this up, because this movie had to be, like, this whole movie had to be, like, redone and what have you. And, actually, if I remember correctly, Paramount, they took a write-off on this movie before it even came out. So, yeah, I kind of wonder if that maybe has something to do with why this isn't under Paramount Animation. Yeah, so anyways, we got Sherlock Gnomes here. This was originally announced as a Paramount Animation movie, to the point where their print logo even appears on some concept art. You know what? I'm just going to do like a BAM image flash of at least one piece of concept art. If you want to see more of it, there's a link in the description. Special shout out, by the way, to Ashley Pureheart for finding this. I'll leave a link to her Instagram down in the description, and you should follow her. She's pretty based. Hi, Ashley. What's up? Also, Moriarty's pies, they make me wanna die, or however that song goes. I gotta rewatch this movie one day. It's hilarious for how bad it is. Yeah, but anyways, next we got Wonder Park. It was announced as Paramount Animation, and the opening credits say Paramount Animation. Monster Trucks and Sherlock Gnomes don't say it, but Sponge Out of Water did, and that was like 4 years before this, so yeah, well, I say no notes. That's only because, it lines up with what was originally announced. Yeah, so. And then next up, we got the SpongeBob movie, Sponge on the Run. You can actually, one thing I do feel is worth noting, after Wonder Park came out, but before Sponge on the Run did, that was when Paramount Animation finally introduced a proper on-screen logo. Yeah, and Sponge on the Run was the first movie to use it. So, this lines up pretty well, so no notes. And, Sponge Out of Water had the branding, so I can't say I'm surprised. And next we got Paw Patrol the movie, which the opening credits say Paramount Pictures, but the reason this says no notes is because I don't think they ever really announced that this was going to be under Paramount Animation, so yeah, yeah, it's it's a movie for preschoolers, so I can give it a bit of a pass for not being under Paramount Animation. It's whatever, really. And then Rumble, this opens with the Paramount Animation logo and was originally announced as Paramount Animation movie. Yeah, and then, yeah, in fact, this was announced at CinemaCon 2018 during the Paramount Animation part of the panel. In fact, a bit of a fun fact, Rumble is actually based on a book called Monster on the Hill. Yeah, but anyways, yeah, no notes. This lines up with what was announced. And then Paws of Fury, The Legend of Hank. This actually was originally announced as a Paramount Animation movie, But you see the opening credits, they say Paramount Pictures, which, you know what? I mean, like The Little Prince, this was a movie that they acquired, so yeah, Paramount didn't even release this in every territory. I know in the UK, it came out on, like, I want to say Sky Cinema, and then I remember, like, the movie leaked in HD, like, an entire week after it opened in the States. Yeah, so, yeah, even though they announced it as Paramount Animation, I can give this one a pass. It's whatever. And actually, if you want something even more funny, in mainland China, this movie was distributed by Disney under the 20th Century Fox label, but still. And then, okay, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem. As you can see, and this opens with a pretty cool variant of the standard Paramount Pictures logo, but then the credits say Paramount Pictures, so, that's pretty accurate. And this was never officially announced to be under the Paramount Animation label, but I am going to image flash a LinkedIn profile, which suggests that at one point it was supposed to be under the label, which I'm kind of wondering why they didn't. And if so, I'm kind of hoping they regret it, to be honest with you. Because this movie is a fucking banger. I'm really hyped for the sequel. As are most people, I imagine. And then next we got Paw Patrol the Mighty Movie, same thing as its predecessor. Announced as Paramount Pictures, credited as Paramount Pictures, opens with standard Paramount logo, so no notes. And then Under the Boardwalk, oh god help me. Yeah, this has the standard Paramount Animation logo. It opens with the Paramount Animation logo and the Paramount Animation credit and what have you. Paramount Animation, however, is only credited on the home release of the film, whereas it was under Nickelodeon Movies theatrically. And if you don't believe me, I will post a link to a video by my good friend Alberto Herrera, because he actually went to see Under the Boardwalk in theaters, and it didn't even have the Paramount Animation logo at all. It just had the Nickelodeon Movies logo. Yeah, so, yeah, I'll leave a link to his he filmed the ending to Under the Boardwalk when he went to see it, and it only showed the Nickelodeon logo. So, and I'm sure Nickelodeon Movies was mentioned in the credits of that print, but as far as I know, that's currently lost media. I'm hoping, a theater chain like Regal or AMC will re-release it for like a summer program or what have you, so, more, so, and I'm wondering if they'll probably use the theatrical print with the Nickelodeon logo, so, I don't know, it could happen. Yeah, anyways, I'll leave a link in the description to Alberto's closing to Under the Boardwalk in theaters. Yeah, so that's a little annoying, but yeah. Then we get to The Tiger's Apprentice, which, this was announced as Paramount Animation, released under Paramount Animation, so I don't have anything to say. Much like I don't have to say anything about the movie itself. Ooba dooba. Yeah, so Transformers 1, this is where things get a little screwy. So Transformers 1, it's credited as Paramount Animation, but, the movie actually opens with the standard Paramount Pictures logo, which, yeah, I mean, look, on the one hand, I kinda get it. I mean, when the trailer first came out, it was copyrighted Paramount Animation, but it showed the print logo for standard Paramount Pictures. So that confused me at the time, but, seeing the movie, I do kind of get it, because, the Paramount Animation logo is, like, very lighthearted, star skippers and all that shit. Yeah, so, to see such a fun, bouncy, I don't fucking know, a fun, bouncy logo before a movie, and then suddenly you're greeted with fucking Megatron ripping Sentinel Prime in half. So, I mean, I do kind of get it, but at the same time, I kind of do feel that they should have made, like, a logo variation, which actually says animation in it. Yeah, just make a custom logo for this movie, which says Paramount Animation, and boom, problem solved. Yeah, but yeah, I don't really. Yeah, this is, like, honestly, like, I've been wanting to make this video for a while, and this was really close to being the final straw at one point, but what we're about to get to next is what really motivated me to do this, and that would be the trailer for Smurfs. Yeah, I mean, the movie's not out yet, so who knows how the hell this is gonna play out, but, I mean, you can't really see it that well, but there is a copyright info for Paramount Pictures on there. And this was originally announced as a Paramount Animation movie, which, oh my god. Do you guys remember that YouTube short I did where I fucking complained about? I'll leave a link to that in the description too. But yeah, like, I had the crown from the Burger King promotion, which and I'll image flash this too. Bam, image flash. The fucking Burger King promotional crown thing, which actually specifically says Paramount Animation on it. But then this trailer has a copyright for standard Paramount Pictures. And, when they did the Burger King promotion, granted, when they did the Burger King promotion, the film was supposed to open in February of 2025. When this video is coming out. Yeah, but it's like, and then they delayed it to, like, July 18th. So I gotta wonder, like, what exactly happened to get them, to get the Paramount Animation branding removed from the final film. Yeah, I mean, shit, dude. I know the movie looks absolutely atrocious at all, but still, like, what the fuck happened? Oh, also, another thing I feel is worth pointing out, not only was this originally announced as a Paramount Animation movie, but Nickelodeon was involved with this as well. Now, granted, they still could be, because I do remember the trailers for the first trailers for Monster Trucks and Wonder Park not mentioning Nickelodeon, but then their logos were added later on down the line. So, I am kind of curious to see if Smurfs will be like another case of that. Oh my god. Yeah, is your head starting to hurt? Because mine sure as fuck is. And that's actually not the worst part of all this. Oh my god. And I actually do want to give another credit to Alberto for this next thing I'm about to mention. I'm going to show some copyright info, some trademark info, I should say. Yeah, so first, if you look at this trademark info for Smurfs, copyright claimant is Paramount Animation, a division of Paramount Pictures Corporation. So somehow, I guess they're still involved with this? Question mark? And then, and actually, I actually do want to bring up some of their upcoming movies next. So following Smurfs Smurfs comes out July 18th, and then the next movie they're making after that is the SpongeBob movie, Search for SquarePants, which, as of the time of me filming this, is slated for December 19th, 2025. The copyright claimant is Paramount Animation, a division of Paramount Pictures Corporation, which, yeah, it lines up with the previous two SpongeBob movies. Though I'm gonna be honest, I kind of sort of would not be, I wouldn't say I'm expecting it, but I really wouldn't be surprised if they just released that under regular old Paramount at this point. Yeah, then after that is, well, this thing is like Lost Realm, which, for those who are like confused, like, this is supposed to be like the sequel movie to the Avatar: The Last Airbender TV show. I've heard a bunch of names floating around, like Aang the Last Airbender, this Lost Realm shit, and fucking Echoes and Aftershocks, I think, was a title at one point. Yeah, this is coming out January 30th, 2026. And look, copyright claimant, Paramount Animation, a division of Paramount Pictures Corporation. How well is that going to age? I have no fucking idea. In fact, Paramount actually has 2 animated movies scheduled after this, those being Paw Patrol 3 and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, then the sequel to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem. The former's coming out July 31st, 2026, and then the latter is October 9th, 2026. Yeah, so, you know what? I mean, they might not get branded under Paramount Animation, but then I'm like, I think about what Sony did with, like, the Angry Birds movies, where the first film wasn't under Sony Animation, but then the second one was. And then Peter Rabbit was, like, the complete opposite of that, so I do wonder if maybe they're going to suddenly slap the branding onto either of these two films. But, jeez, this is a fucking... Hey. I'm just gonna play the next part.
Though really, if you ask me, Paramount Animation should be a label used for all of the studio's animated films. Put them all under one umbrella, and hey, given how some of these movies perform, it would really benefit the studio in the long run, since their box office prospects have not been great. As much as I hate talking about Skydance in a positive manner, I am at least hoping that they can fix some of the issues presented here. Word on the street suggests that Skydance's own animation unit could potentially merge with Nickelodeon, and as much as I do not want John Lasseter being in charge of SpongeBob, it could be an interesting way to help differentiate their studio from Paramount Animation. It could be like how Disney's got both their own studio and Pixar, how Universal has both DreamWorks and Illumination. You get the idea. I mean, I don't want it to happen, but it might make things less confusing for me. Hell, if you want, use the Paramount Animation label for some of these live-action hybrids like Clifford the Big Red Dog, or If, or that new Rugrats movie that sounds like it's going to be an absolute train wreck. Put all the Sonic movies under the label while you're at it. But now I'm getting ahead of myself. In short, if this level of confusion is any indicator, then Paramount Animation needs some serious course correction. Transformers 1 could very well have been that movie, and I personally believe that it bombing had less to do with the marketing and more to do with general audiences not wanting to see yet another Transformers movie after so many god-awful takes on the IP. But that's a topic for another day. Maybe if that had been a success, Paramount would have kept the label on the new Smurf movie. Maybe they'd use it on some of their other films like Mutant Mayhem. Who the hell knows? But anyways, this is Bumpy Gaming going back under the bed. And remember, there are fates worse than death, such as being somebody who has never watched Transformers 1. Click off this video right now and go watch it because it is goated as fuck.